Every time we allow toxic behavior to go unchecked, we make a withdrawal from the trust account. Oftentimes, it's because we confuse being nice with being kind. No one can trust you because you won't speak up and say what needs to be said. When the moment finally comes to a head, and trust and believe that it will, it's going to be a bigger issue. It's going to be a bigger blow up, a bigger problem than if we just have the conversation to begin with. We define true impact. Forget the quarterly check. From the mission statement to the corporate debt. You gotta lead with strategy. You gotta own your why. We're moving beyond the bottom line and reaching for the sky. We're moving beyond the bottom line without the lead. Welcome. If you're watching this, it's probably been a time that you had to have difficult conversations. Perhaps it's an underperforming employee or a board member who oversteps, or a volunteer who has great intentions but bad execution. You've convinced yourself that you're going to operate with patience. You convince yourself that you're just keeping the peace. However, in informatics, we call it latency. Latency is the delay between input and response. When latency is high, then the screen freezes and eventually the system crashes. Conflict avoidance is organizational latency. When you delay the truth, you're hindering your own growth. In today's episode, we're dealing with the ability to clear the catch, as we say in informatics all the time. We're going to talk about the art of having difficult conversations. I'm Dr. Lee Riley, and welcome to Beyond the Bottom Line. There's a disease in corporate and nonprofit boardrooms alike. I call it artificial harmony. It's a term that's coined when everyone smiles at the meeting. You know, that fake smile, that grin that they give. Everyone agrees with the plan. Everyone says amen. But when they make it to the parking lot or they make it home, they completely destroy the plan and pick it apart. In the business world, we call it politics. In ministries, we call it gossip. But the root cause is still the same, whether you're in ministry or in business. It's a leader who's afraid of tension. We think that by ignoring the issue, the toxic behavior, the missed deadline, that we're being nice, that we're preserving the relationship. However, in actuality, you're not preserving the relationship, you're actually eroding the relationship. And every time we allow toxic behavior to go unchecked, we make a withdrawal from the trust account. No one can trust you because you won't speak up and say what needs to be said. When the moment finally comes to a head, and trust and believe that it will, it's going to be a bigger issue, it's going to be a bigger blow up, a bigger problem than if we just have the conversation to begin with. Why do we choose latency over clarity? Oftentimes, it's because we confuse being nice with being kind. Nice is about me. It's about me wanting you to be comfortable. It's about protecting my image. It's a protective mechanism. It's somewhat selfish, just being honest and real about it. Being kind, however, is about you. Kindness considers your thoughts and your feelings. And kindness also increases growth in many instances. Kind is me saying that you actually do have spinach in your teeth, as opposed to nice saying, "Oh, you look really, really nice," and then knowing that you really don't. If you are a shepherd, a leader of people, a business executive, you have a moral obligation to correct, to tell people the truth. One of the most loving things that you can do is to be honest. It is a very kind thing to do as well. If you see that the bridge is out, and I'm pulling on my country church vernacular, if you see that the bridge is out and that someone is headed down the road where the bridge is, you have an obligation to tell them the bridge is out, turn around, go another direction. A lot of times we don't want things to be awkward, but don't be the leader who's afraid of the awkwardness. Be the leader that sees beyond the bottom line. So, how do we do it? How do we have these difficult conversations without beating the person up or tearing them down? We need a protocol. I call it a debug protocol. The reason I call it the debug protocol is because in informatics, when there's an issue, we don't burn the computer. We simply isolate the code, we debug it, and we rerun the code. This is the debug protocol. Step one, the setup, the environment. You don't want to do this via email. You don't want to do this via text. And you don't want to do this in public. You praise in public and correct in private. That's the golden rule. But even in the correcting in private, you have to create an environment where the person that's being corrected does not feel attacked. They know that you're serious, but not attacking. Step two, the data, the facts. This is where a lot of leaders make a mistake. The bad way to do that is to just say, you're lazy and you don't care. The good way to do this is to say that you missed 3 deadlines. It delayed our project by a week. These are the other implications of your actions. Let's come up with a plan to do better. The first approach causes people to turn away from you, to not want to deal with you, and it's going to cause them to be very defensive. Always attack the issue, not the person. When you lead with the data, the outcome will be much better. Step three, the future, the plan, the if then. You never leave them guessing. Always implement a plan. Let them know that if you do XYZ, then XYZ will occur. You always want them to feel that you're partnering with them to attack an issue. You lay the issue on the table. You both examine the issue through your own lens and you work together to come up with a solution. If we keep that approach of praising in public, addressing issues in private, and having a plan in the future, then this protocol will work and aid in the art of having difficult conversations. All right, we're headed into the nightcap. I know that your stomach may be in knots thinking about the conversation that you must have. The knots, that's the latency that we was talking about earlier. It is the unsaid thing. There is a great burst of energy that happens when you're finally just able to say it, when you're finally able to call attention to the thing. Remember the lyrics of the song. It says, when the noise keeps you lost within the crowd. The song that I'm referring to is our theme song for Beyond the Bottom Line with Dr. Lee. When noise is keeping you lost in the crowd, a lot of times it's the noise from the things that we're not saying. but you have to be brave. Sometimes it takes courage to be awkward. Sometimes it takes gall to call out the elephant that is in the room. But guess what? We are in the nightcap. And when you're able to finally call attention to the thing, you'll be able to sleep better at night. So let's resolve to have those difficult conversations tomorrow. Let's resolve to being able to not attack the person, but attack the issue. And let's speak up and let's continue going beyond the bottom line. I'm Dr. Lee, and this has been another segment of Beyond the Bottom Line with Dr. Lee. Let's get to work. All right. We're heading